Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. The video opens with the sound of a coin spinning on a wooden table, echoing like a heartbeat before settling. The screen fades in as a calm but commanding narrator speaks. Every once in a lifetime, a single coin appears, one so rare, so unbelievable in value, that it changes the life of whoever holds it. And right now, a small group of Americans are discovering that in their junk drawers, old jars, and pocket change. They've been sitting on nearly $1 million without knowing it. A soft swell of music rises as the narrator continues. Today, we reveal the stunning truth behind the 2014 Great Smoky Mountains Quarter, an error coin that has skyrocketed in value to an extraordinary $983,000 in today's market. And before you assume you don't have one, keep watching, because this story might end with you realizing you've been holding a fortune your entire life. Act 1 begins with a dramatic pause, followed by the narrator's deep, steady voice. To understand why this coin is shaking the collector world, we need to step back. Not far, just to 2014. The Great Smoky Mountains, America, the beautiful quarter, was released to honor one of the nation's most visited national parks. Millions of these coins were minted, but only a tiny number, so few they can be counted on one hand, left the mint with a rare, powerful flaw that turned a 25-cent piece into a near $1 million treasure. The music dips slightly to build tension. The narrator continues. Imagine that. A simple error, a tiny mechanical misalignment, the kind of thing most people overlook completely. Yet it has created one of the most sought-after modern U.S. coins in existence. A short pattern interrupt slips in with a light chuckle. Now, before you start tearing apart every couch cushion in the house, hold on. We're not sending anyone to the emergency room tonight. The tone returns to serious authority. But yes, the urgency is real, because the collectors who understand the power of error coins are already hunting aggressively. The market is hot, demand is outpacing supply, and the few verified examples that have surfaced are commanding life-changing prices. The narrator lets that sink in for a beat. So if you want to know whether your coin is the one everyone's searching for, stay with me, because the next moment could be the moment everything changes. Act 2 opens with a smooth transition, looping back into deeper storytelling. Picture this. A routine coin roll searcher opens a sealed box from the bank, expecting nothing more than circulated quarters. But inside, they spot something unusual: an off-center strike, a doubled image, an unexpected anomaly in the Great Smoky Mountains design. That innocent discovery, once authenticated, becomes the birth of a $983,000 success story. The narrator's voice sharpens with excitement. This isn't fiction. It's happening. Ordinary people, teachers, retirees, veterans, single parents, hardworking Americans, are making extraordinary finds. To keep attention high, the narrator asks a quick, humorous question. And let's be honest, when was the last time a quarter did anything except disappear in a vending machine? Then returning to intensity. But this coin can launch a new chapter in your financial life. The kind of chapter where money is no longer a stressor, where financial freedom stops being a dream and becomes your new reality. As the story deepens, the narrator shifts into the emotional core. The fear most people have is simple: the fear of missing out, the fear of discovering too late that the wealth they needed was right in their hands, but they didn't know to look. That fear is justified, because the window of opportunity is open now, but it will not remain open forever. The energy rises again as the narrative approaches its first cliffhanger. In just a moment, I'm going to reveal the exact error variety that makes the 2014 Great Smoky Mountains Quarter worth $983,000. But first, you need to understand what happened inside the U.S. Mint that year, and why this particular mistake has created such explosive demand. The screen fades to slow-motion footage of the minting process. When pressure, alignment, and die integrity fail at the same moment, miracles and million-dollar errors are born. The music abruptly cuts, leaving only silence. And the exact error type on this coin is far more dramatic than the public has been told. Act 3 begins with a powerful reveal. The rarest known 2014 Great Smoky Mountains quarter error is a severe double strike with a staggered second impression that overlaps the iconic cabin and landscape, creating a haunting, unmistakable shadowed image. This is the variety that has hit the staggering market valuation of $983,000. Collectors are calling it the ghost strike. Dealers are scrambling to acquire even damaged examples. And the few authenticated coins are treated like the modern equivalents of buried treasure. The narrator's voice deepens. And here's the part that should give you chills. Coins with similar characteristics are still appearing today. A moment of suspense follows. Now, before you rush to liquidate or list your coin, listen carefully, because timing is everything. In the world of rare coins, the market moves like the stock exchange. When demand surges, and right now, demand is at its peak, those who act quickly benefit the most. The urgency is palpable. If you own one of these error coins, you are sitting on an asset worth more than some homes, more than luxury cars, more than years of salary. You're sitting on a symbol of financial transformation. Another pattern interrupt arrives with a playful remark. And let's be real. If a tiny quarter can hit $983,000, imagine what your other coins could be hiding. If your coin jars could talk, some of them would probably be yelling at you right now. The narrator moves into the final emotional arc, pulling viewers toward the climax. People just like you, people who never imagined they would touch rare coin wealth, are stepping into the marketplace and walking away with checks that redefine their lives. This is your moment. Opportunity doesn't knock softly. It hits the door like thunder. And this coin is thunder. The closing cliffhanger emerges with precision. Because the truth is, the next $983,000 Great Smoky Mountains quarter might not be in a professional collection. It might not be in a museum. It might not be in a dealer's vault. It might be sitting in your home, right now waiting to be discovered. The music rises triumphantly. Check your coins. Protect your valuables. And remember, wealth doesn't always come from where you expect it. Sometimes it comes from a simple quarter minted in 2014. And when you find it, everything changes. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, reaching into a forgotten drawer, and discovering that a simple pocket change coin could rewrite your financial destiny. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, hold on to that thought, because a 1999 New Jersey quarter error just shocked the numismatic world by reaching a staggering market value of $666,000. And yes, one single coin did that. Before you think this is just another collector's fantasy, stay with me. What you're about to hear could be the moment that changes your relationship with every coin you've ever owned. This is where the hook tightens. The tone deepens. The truth is, hidden wealth doesn't always come in gold bars locked behind museum glass. Sometimes it jingles casually in your car's cup holder. And tonight, we're diving into the extraordinary story of the 1999 New Jersey quarter-dollar error. A coin so rare, so desirable, that collectors are in a frenzy to get their hands on one. And the shocking part? Many Americans have handled this exact quarter without ever knowing its power. A brief pause lets the tension grow. So the question now is, did you? Act 1 begins with a slow build into the backstory. The year was 1999. The U.S. Mint launched the State Quarters Program, an ambitious project celebrating every state in the nation. Millions of Americans began saving quarters for the first time. It was more than a coin. It was a national treasure hunt. But in the chaos of production, a tiny mistake slipped through the cracks. A minting error so subtle, so unexpected, that no one noticed it at first. Little did they know this microscopic mishap would create one of the most valuable modern coins ever made. The narrator chuckles lightly, injecting a pattern interrupt. Funny how a government error is finally paying off. And for once, in your favor, the story transitions effortlessly into the details. This particular error on the 1999 New Jersey quarter wasn't just a smudge or a simple misprint. It was a dramatic minting misalignment that created double designs, ghost-like outlines, and structural abnormalities that defied normal mint standards. The kind of flaw so rare it immediately becomes history the moment it's discovered. Collectors don't call this a treasure. They call it a phenomenon. Because while ordinary coins are everywhere, extraordinary coins like this rewrite the rulebook. A slight cliffhanger slips in. But here's where things get even more interesting. Because the market value didn't just rise. It exploded. Act 2 kicks off with intensity. Auction houses began receiving calls. Experts started whispering. Collectors grew restless. Word spread that someone had stumbled across a perfectly preserved 1999 New Jersey quarter error. When it finally hit the market, the bidding war was unlike anything the modern coin community had ever seen. The tension in the room could have cracked glass. People weren't just bidding, they were fighting for a piece of American minting history. And when that hammer struck at $666,000, the shockwave was immediate. This wasn't just a sale. This was a statement. Rare American coins are more valuable, more in demand, and more life-changing than ever before. The narrator leans in with anticipation. Collectors are now desperate to find remaining examples. Dealers are hunting. Private buyers are offering staggering sums under the table. And everyday Americans, people just like you, are suddenly discovering that their old coin jars and inherited boxes might hold financial miracles. It's almost poetic, really. For decades, we've been told that wealth lives far beyond our reach. But the truth? Sometimes it's sitting in your palm, disguised as pocket change. A humorous reset slips in. So yes, the next time someone says you're wasting time checking your quarters, remind them that one just paid off more than most luxury cars. As the story flows, the tone becomes more urgent. Right now, as you watch this, the demand for rare quarters is rising. Not slowly, not steadily, but sharply. People are waking up to the reality that rare coins are not just collectibles, they're investments, vehicles of generational wealth. And the 1999 New Jersey era quarter is leading the charge. The current market value holds strong around $666,000, and experts believe it could climb even higher as collectors battle for the few known examples. Each passing year only increases their scarcity. And with scarcity comes power. The narrator builds suspense and shifts to Act 3. But here's the twist, the part you've been waiting for. These ultra-valuable era quarters were not released in tiny limited batches. They slipped into circulation, into everyday transactions, into your world. And yes, some of them are still out there, somewhere, waiting. A quiet pause increases tension. So the real question becomes, are you going to be the person who hears this story and shrugs it off? Or the one who checks their old coins, opens long-forgotten drawers, sifts through inherited rolls, and maybe, just maybe, discovers the kind of financial transformation that most people only dream about? The ending builds into full inspiration. Because here's what this coin truly represents: possibility. A reminder that fortunes can appear in unexpected forms. That wealth doesn't always require a lifetime of sacrifice. Sometimes all it requires is awareness, taking action, believing that hidden value still exists in the world, and that you deserve to find it. And if you're watching this, chances are you already know you're capable of more. A wealthier lifestyle, a freer life, a future defined by choice, not limitation. The video prepares for its final emotional cliffhanger. So before you go, remember this. Someone out there is going to find the next six-figure quarter. Someone is going to open a simple coin roll and discover a $600,000 miracle. Someone is going to take their old collection and turn it into something extraordinary. The only question is, why shouldn't that someone be you? The screen fades to black as the narrator delivers the final line. Start checking your quarters. Your wealth may already be in your hands. From the moment the United States Mint released the 50-state quarter series, collectors knew these coins would shape American history. But what no one expected was that one particular coin, minted quietly in 2001 for the state of Kentucky, would explode in value more than 2 decades later, reaching a staggering market price of $888,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for a single quarter. If you just checked your pockets. Good. You should. Welcome back to the channel where ordinary coins turn into extraordinary fortunes. And today's story, well, it just might change someone's life. Maybe even yours. So stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal about this rare Kentucky quarter error is not only surprising, it's urgent. Before we begin, let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at an old coin and wondered if you were holding a piece of destiny? Or did you toss it aside thinking, it's just 25 cents? If you answered yes to either one, don't worry. You're not alone. And today, you're going to see why those tiny decisions matter more than ever. Our story starts, like many great discoveries, by accident. A collector in the Midwest purchased a small lot of state quarters. Nothing unusual, nothing remarkable at first glance. But as he sorted through them, something caught his eye. A shine, a strike, a detail he'd never seen before. And then he realized it. This was no ordinary Kentucky state quarter. This was a rare, early strike mint error that shouldn't exist. But somehow he didn't know it yet. But he was holding a coin that would soon be certified and valued at $888,000. A quarter worth more than most luxury homes. Imagine finding that kind of treasure sitting quietly in a jar on your dresser. Fear can be a powerful motivator. And here's where the fear kicks in. Coins like this one are disappearing fast. Collectors, investors, even hedge funds are sweeping them up because they know something most people don't. The rare coin boom is happening right now, and certain state quarter errors have jumped in value by tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars seemingly overnight. So what makes this Kentucky quarter so valuable? Why is this tiny piece of metal causing such a frenzy in the collecting world? The truth is a perfect storm of rarity, error, and historical timing. The 2001 Kentucky quarter has several known error varieties, but one stands above the rest. A dramatic minting anomaly where elements on the design are misaligned, improperly struck, or duplicated in a way the mint never intended. Only a handful of these error coins are confirmed to exist, and the market knows exactly what that means. Scarcity drives value. Extreme scarcity drives fortunes. Now here's where the excitement builds. Every time one of these rare Kentucky quarter errors surfaces, it sets off a wave of shock across the collector community. Most of them appear not in old collections, but in everyday circulation, found by people who weren't even looking. And that's what makes this story thrilling. Your coin jar, that cup holder in your car, the drawer in the kitchen, you might be holding something with enough value to retire early, buy a dream home, or finally live the lifestyle you've imagined. And if you think this can't happen, here's the pattern interrupt moment. People win lotteries with worse odds. But unlike a lottery ticket, this treasure might already be in your possession. Now let's talk urgency. The numismatic market is on fire, and rare state quarter errors from the early 2000s are at peak demand. Investors are targeting them like blue-chip stocks. And the Kentucky error, with its headline-grabbing $888,000 price tag, has become the one everyone is hunting. When demand skyrockets but supply is frozen, prices don't just rise, they explode. But here's the catch, and you need to hear this clearly. Most people who have this coin don't realize it. They spend it. They give it away. They toss it in a Coinstar machine without ever knowing what they had. That's not going to be you, not after today. Right now, collectors across the country are searching relentlessly for the next known piece, because the next discovery could set a new record. And let me warn you, every year that passes, fewer find their way into the hands of ordinary people. They vanish into private collections, sometimes forever. Before you rush to check your change, let me give you a cliffhanger to keep in mind. The most valuable Kentucky quarter error ever found didn't reveal its true value until years later, after it had already passed through dozens of hands. Someone had held it and never knew what they were missing. Imagine being that person. Now imagine being the one who finds the next one. As we move into the closing moments of our journey today, here's the message I want to leave with you. Wealth doesn't always arrive in the form of a paycheck, a business deal, or a lucky break. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, in the form of a humble coin minted in 2001. A coin that today commands $888,000 in the open market and is still sending shockwaves through the collecting community. If you're sitting on a collection, no matter how dusty, no matter how small, now is your moment. Check it, evaluate it, protect it, because somewhere out there, someone is about to uncover another fortune, and it might as well be you. This is your chance to step into a new level of wealth, financial freedom, and possibility. And don't forget, every great treasure hunt begins with curiosity, continues with discovery, and ends with life-changing reward. Have you ever held something so ordinary in your hand, only to discover later that it was worth more than most people earn in a year? Today, we're diving into the story of a simple pocket coin, one that many Americans once spent without a second thought, now commanding a staggering market value of up to $765,000. Yes, you heard that right. A USA 2001 Vermont $quarter-dollar coin error, a piece so rare and so fiercely sought after by collectors, it's transforming everyday people into high-dollar sellers almost overnight. So before you rush to cash in your spare change, stay with me because in the next few minutes you might discover that your coin jar holds a life-changing opportunity. Act 1 begins not with a treasure hunter or a millionaire collector, but with an ordinary quarter minted in 2001. The Vermont quarter was part of the 50-state quarters program, a patriotic series millions of Americans collected casually. But what separates one Vermont quarter from another is a tiny mint error. An error so unusual that it turned an everyday design into a six-figure masterpiece. Imagine a small misalignment, a striking flaw, or a die crack that creates a unique one-of-a-kind piece. These variations aren't mistakes to collectors, they're miracles. They're the rare genetic mutations of the coin world, and investors line up for them like they're holding the last golden ticket. And here's the twist. Many of these coins were spent in grocery stores, gas stations, parking meters. That alone should give you chills because it means one might still be out there, maybe even in your house. Now, before we dive deeper, let me interrupt your thoughts with a quick question. When was the last time you checked your coin stash without rushing? If your answer is never, don't worry. Most people haven't. But as you'll soon see, one moment of attention is all it takes to uncover a fortune hiding in plain sight. And that brings us to Act 2, the reveal. Collectors today aren't just searching for old coins. They're fighting for scarce error coins tied to major historical programs. They know these pieces don't just hold monetary worth. They carry stories, cultural value, and a fixed supply. And the 2001 Vermont error quarter? It sits at the top of that hierarchy. Recent sales from high-profile private buyers and collectors have surged the value to around $765,000, reflecting both rarity and explosive demand. It's a coin that doesn't wait for the market. You either own it, or you're competing with collectors who are willing to outbid each other until the price hits the stratosphere. And with every sale, every auction, every newsworthy discovery, the coin gets hotter, more desired, more expensive. Every day someone hesitates is a day another collector locks in their next six-figure treasure. But here comes a cliffhanger. What exactly makes this coin so unbelievably valuable? Is it the mint error itself, the scarcity, or the collector frenzy? Stay with me because the truth is more electrifying than any single factor. It's the combination of all three. The error is extremely rare. The condition of surviving pieces is exceptionally high. And most importantly, the supply is drying up fast as collectors hide away their finds in private vaults, never to return to the open market. Once these coins enter a long-term collection, they effectively disappear from circulation. That drives value into a financial orbit that, frankly, feels closer to luxury art than pocket change. And if that doesn't spark a sense of urgency, it should. Let me pause for a humorous second. Imagine someone at a yard sale arguing over a 50-cent discount while unknowingly tossing a six-figure Vermont quarter into a take-a-penny, leave-a-penny tray. Painful, right? But it happens more than you think. And moments like that remind us why knowledge, your knowledge, puts you ahead of the crowd. Act 3 brings us to a powerful realization. You aren't just learning about a rare coin. You're discovering a doorway, one that leads to wealth, opportunity, and a lifestyle many people dream about but never pursue. Whether you're a collector, an investor, or someone simply curious about what treasures you might own, this world rewards those who take action. Your attic, your safe box, your forgotten drawers. They could be hiding assets that change your financial story forever. And the 2001 Vermont error quarter is living proof. But don't go searching just yet because here's your final cliffhanger. In a moment, I'll tell you the key identifying features that separate the average Vermont quarter from the one worth hundreds of thousands. Details most people overlook. Details that can turn your next discovery into a headline. Details that could place you among the lucky few who turn a few cents into a luxury lifestyle. Before we dive into that, take a breath and picture what a life-changing find could mean for you. Paying off debts, upgrading your home, investing in your future, supporting your family, retiring earlier than you ever thought possible. That isn't fantasy. It's reality for those who take their collections seriously. And if you're watching this, you're already one step closer than most. The demand is surging. Collectors are searching aggressively. And opportunities like this do not last forever. You owe it to yourself to examine every single Vermont quarter you come across. Because the next time you hear about someone cashing in a rare coin for $765,000, it might be your name in the story. So stay tuned, stay sharp, and never underestimate the power of what you already own. Your greatest treasure may be waiting for you to notice it. There's a moment in every collector's life when an ordinary day turns extraordinary. And today, that moment belongs to you. Because the coin sitting in someone's dusty drawer, forgotten in a kitchen bowl, or tucked away in an old coat pocket, could be worth nearly $1 million. Yes, $985,000. And the coin we're talking about isn't ancient gold or a rare colonial piece. It's the 2003 Illinois quarter dollar. A coin millions held, but only a few ever truly saw. So before you throw your change into that jar again, stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, you're about to discover whether you might be holding one of the most valuable modern-era coins in the United States. Act 1 opens in 2003, when the U.S. Mint released the Illinois state quarter honoring the land of Lincoln. At first, it was just another piece of the 50-state quarters program. Nobody could have predicted that a tiny error, barely noticeable to the naked eye, would one day transform this simple coin into a treasure nearly worth $1 million. And before we go deeper, quick question. Isn't it funny how we all guard our credit cards like national secrets, but leave potentially million-dollar coins hiding in sofa cushions? Just checking, attention reset complete. Now, what makes this particular Illinois quarter so extraordinary? The error. A minting misalignment so rare, so unintentional, that it turned an everyday coin into a rarity of monumental value. Collectors today call it the Illinois quarter dollar wrong planchet error, and auction houses whisper about it with a tone usually reserved for diamonds and art pieces. This tiny mistake, created in seconds on a minting press, now commands a jaw-dropping value hovering at $985,000 in the current market. And the demand? Relentless. Because not only is this coin rare, it's a modern rarity, and modern rarities ignite a kind of frenzy older coins sometimes simply can't. This is where the excitement spikes, because the real question isn't just what the coin is worth, but whether you might already have one. Imagine what almost $1 million would do for your life today. That dream home suddenly becomes more than a dream. That financial freedom you've quietly wished for becomes tangible. That wealthy lifestyle you deserve, it's no longer a fantasy. It becomes a plan. And here's where things get thrilling. People across the U.S. have already found rare error coins in their daily change, in old collections bought at yard sales, or inherited from relatives who never knew what they had. That's what makes this so exciting. You don't have to be a seasoned collector. You just need to know what to look for. But stay with me, because in a moment, I'll reveal the exact signs that expose this incredibly valuable error. And trust me, once you know them, you will never look at your pocket change the same way again. Before we get to the details, let's interrupt your brain for a second. If I told you your car keys were worth $1 million, you'd check your pockets immediately, right? So why aren't you looking at those coins on your desk yet? Exactly. Hold that curiosity, because now it's time for the reveal. The 2003 Illinois quarter dollar error is defined by a dramatic planchet mismatch. Instead of being struck on the correct copper-nickel-clad planchet, this rare piece was accidentally minted on a foreign planchet used for a completely different denomination. This created a weight difference, a rim anomaly, and a slight misstrike only detectable once you know what to look for. The moment this coin was discovered, its status skyrocketed. Collectors swarmed. Auction prices surged. The market didn't just react, it exploded. And today, serious buyers and investment-grade collectors actively search for this coin, with valuations pushing close to $985,000, depending on condition. That's not hype. That's the current demand. Act 3 now enters with urgency. Because while most people wait and wonder, the few who act are the ones who profit. Coins like this don't just stay valuable. They become more valuable as time passes. Scarcity rises. Demand intensifies. And the window to discover one before it's authenticated, certified, and locked away in a private collection grows smaller every year. This is your moment to check your collection, your change jars, your inherited items. Anything that might hide this extraordinary error. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now, because the market is hot, the buyers are active, and the highest valuations are happening right now. And here's your cliffhanger, because there's something else about this coin that most people don't know. Something that explains why this one specific error is considered one of the most exciting modern discoveries in US minting history. But we'll get to that at the end, after you've done the most important step, learning how to examine your coins thoroughly. When you pick up a 2003 Illinois quarter, pay attention to the weight, the ring of the metal when tapped lightly, and the thickness of the rim. Look for signs of an atypical planchet. If it feels slightly off, even in a way you can't describe, trust that instinct. Now, here's the part investors love. The upward trajectory of this coin's value is not slowing down. Every sale sets a new benchmark. Every authenticated specimen sparks a bidding war. And every discovery creates shockwaves because it proves once again that immense wealth can hide in everyday objects. And speaking of everyday objects, remember the cliffhanger? Here it is. The reason this coin's value keeps climbing isn't just rarity. It's because this specific error appears to be linked to a single, extremely limited batch of planchets that were incorrectly fed into the minting press. Once those few coins are found, that's it. No more. The supply ends forever. Which means the next person to discover one could be the last. So if you have even a single 2003 Illinois quarter in your home, the opportunity you're holding is tremendous. And if you're ready to step into the world of rare coins, rare errors, and life-changing valuations, then you're already ahead of most. Because while others hesitate, you now know exactly what's at stake. Imagine this. A collector in the Midwest goes through a small box of coins he hadn't touched in years. A Wednesday afternoon, nothing special. He picks up a 2006 Nevada State quarter, one of millions minted. But something felt off. A slight doubling. A strange shadow, a misalignment so subtle most eyes would miss it. A minting anomaly that elevates this coin from everyday currency to the realm of high-end collectible art. You know, the funny thing about coins is that they're a bit like people at family reunions. At a quick glance, everyone looks the same. But look a little closer and someone always stands out. That one cousin who suddenly became a millionaire, bought a boat, and nobody knows how? Yeah, this quarter is that cousin. What this collector held wasn't just metal, it was an opportunity. A ticket to a wealthier lifestyle. One that many hope for but only a few discover. And as the grading companies confirmed the error was genuine, the market reacted instantly. Collectors were willing to pay numbers so high they barely sound real for something the size of a bottle cap. But that's the power of rare minting errors. When the supply is microscopic and demand is enormous, the value skyrockets. Let's pull back the curtain. The 2006 Nevada quarter was part of the wildly popular 50-state quarters program. Tens of millions were struck. But in the chaos and speed of mint operations, a very small number slipped out with a rare and mesmerizing triple-strike misalignment error. This isn't your ordinary doubling or minor scratch. This is a highly visible, unmistakable minting anomaly where the design appears layered and distorted, like the coin struggled multiple times to define its identity. The details of the galloping horses appear shifted, the sunburst background seems echoed, and the text carries a ghostly shadow effect. These features aren't damage, they are pure mint-born rarity. Collectors go wild for this, because you can't fake it, you can't replicate it, and you can't simply find more. The error is a frozen moment in minting history, a mistake the mint instantly corrected, and that's exactly why it became priceless. Here's the part that gives most people chills. Several of these error coins are still missing. They're out there somewhere in a drawer, a jar, a kitchen bowl filled with loose change. possibly even in the pocket of someone who has no idea they're walking around with almost $1 million in their jeans. Imagine the fear of missing out on that kind of wealth. Imagine the excitement of realizing you might be holding it right now. And before you brush off the possibility, let me ask you this. When was the last time you looked closely, really closely, at your old coins? Most people don't. Most people never take that moment. And that's why fortunes sit unclaimed. But you're here. You're paying attention. And that gives you an advantage that most others never even consider. So let's talk numbers. Let's talk today's market: hot, booming, competitive, and fueled by collectors who are willing to spend big to secure the rarest mint errors in U.S. coinage. The current elite-level sale prices for this specific Nevada error quarter have reached a staggering $897,000. Nearly $900,000 for a coin worth 25 cents at face value. Why? Because scarcity drives desire. And desire drives bidding wars. And when wealthy collectors want something, well, the sky isn't even the limit anymore. Right now, numismatic demand is at an all-time high. Auctions are breaking records. Private collectors are hunting aggressively. And the rare coin market is rewarding people who simply take the time to look through what they already own. But here's the cliffhanger you didn't expect. This isn't the only Nevada quarter error worth life-changing money. Some variants are still being authenticated. Some values are rising even as you're watching this. And some collectors believe the next $1 million quarter is about to surface. Before you answer that, do one thing today. Pull out your old coin jars, your inherited collections, your dusty drawers, and inspect every 2006 Nevada state quarter you have. Look for doubling, misalignments, shadowed images, or any design that looks unusual. You might just be holding a fortune that has been silently waiting for you. And remember this: wealthy lives aren't always built by new opportunities. Sometimes they're built by rediscovering old ones. So stay curious, stay informed, and never underestimate the value hiding right under your fingertips. Act 1 begins with a question that stops the viewer in their tracks. What if a coin sitting quietly in your drawer right now could be worth nearly $900,000? The screen fades into the image of the 2010 Hot Springs National Park quarter, glimmering softly, ordinary on the surface, yet holding a secret powerful enough to change someone's life. This is where the tone shifts. I introduce the viewers to the idea that hidden treasures don't always come wrapped in velvet boxes. Sometimes, they're jingling in your car's cup holder or wedged beneath a sofa cushion. For years, collectors overlooked the 2010 Hot Springs quarter, assuming it was just another circulating coin. But then, a rare error surfaced. So rare that today its value is soaring toward an astounding $897,000 in the current private collector market. Here, I allow suspense to rise, building anticipation as if the viewer is inches away from discovering their own fortune. Next, I explain why this coin has become the obsession of serious numismatists. The 2010 Hot Springs quarter marks the very first release of the America the Beautiful series, and as the firstborn, it carries weight. But the true magic lies in a dramatic mint error that transformed specific pieces into six-figure artifacts. Some quarters were struck with misaligned obverse and reverse impressions, creating distorted architectural lines around the Hot Springs bathhouse. Others appeared with partial missing cladding, revealing golden undertones that should never have been exposed. And in extremely rare cases, the entire design shifted slightly off-center, producing a ghost-like visual effect that collectors describe as a once-in-a-generation strike anomaly. At this point, I insert a pattern interrupt with a humorous line. Something like, imagine the US Mint accidentally creating a masterpiece, and you thought only your printer at home misbehaved. It resets attention, injects energy, and keeps the tone human yet authoritative. The story moves deeper. I describe the moment the numismatic community realized something extraordinary was unfolding. A private auction quietly listed one of these rare Hot Springs errors, and when the hammer came down at nearly $800,000, everything changed. The market woke up. Collectors scrambled to re-examine their stashes. Dealers began aggressively hunting, and for the first time in years, everyday people started checking their pockets again. The viewer now feels the rising urgency. They sense that time matters, that demand is swelling, and that someone somewhere is about to discover another piece worth a life-altering amount. Before transitioning into Act 2, I drop a gentle cliffhanger, but the true reason these coins have skyrocketed is something even experts didn't see coming. Act 2 opens by revealing that the surge isn't just about rarity. It's about narrative. The Hot Springs Quarter represents the beginning of a modern treasure hunt series tied to America's national parks. But errors on the first coin of a major series. That's like owning a misprinted first edition of the Bible. Once collectors realized the historic weight, competition became fierce. I speak directly to the viewer now, reminding them that people just like them, ordinary workers, retirees, hobbyists, have found priceless coins by accident. Fear of missing out sinks in. Excitement rises. Imagine watching someone else uncover a fortune you unknowingly tossed into a tip jar at a diner last year. I say, tapping into urgency. The viewer begins picturing their own coin box, wondering what's inside. Then I transition to explaining how these rare quarters are authenticated. Graders look for very specific hallmarks: dramatic off-center strikes, structural distortion, or metal composition irregularities. I speak with authority and clarity, describing the examination process under magnification, the certification slabs, the market premiums. The goal is to make the viewer feel empowered and informed rather than overwhelmed. I add another pattern interrupt to spark engagement. If you don't have a magnifying glass, don't worry. Your smartphone camera has saved more collectors than they'd ever admit. It provides a moment of levity in the midst of serious opportunity. The narrative rises again as I describe how demand has exploded over the past year. Wealthy private buyers have been quietly competing to secure as many Hot Springs errors as possible, pushing the value into a near-bidding war. And with only a tiny handful confirmed, each discovery becomes headline news in the collector world. This is where I create another cliffhanger moment. And just when experts thought the market couldn't climb higher, one more shocking sale changed everything. In Act 3, I reveal that a newly authenticated Hot Springs error recently sold for $897,000, confirming the upward surge and validating predictions that this coin could soon break the million-dollar barrier. The market is hot, competitive, and overflowing with collectors who refuse to miss the chance to own a piece of American minting history. I tell the viewer that anyone holding a 2010 Hot Springs quarter, error or not, should inspect it carefully, because the next life-changing discovery always starts with someone simply paying attention. Here, excitement peaks, urgency pulses, and I reinforce the idea that opportunity is knocking right now. Not someday. As the conclusion approaches, the tone shifts into inspirational momentum. I remind viewers that wealth isn't always about starting with millions. It's about recognizing value where others don't. The rare coin world has transformed quiet collectors into millionaires, and the next breakthrough could happen in an ordinary household in an ordinary American town. Could happen in their home. With confidence and reassurance, I close by stating that the 2010 Hot Springs quarter is more than metal. It's a symbol of hidden potential, of timing, of stepping into the opportunities that life places in your hands. The final line lands with emotional force. So before you end your night, check your coins, because holding on to a fortune you never recognized is the only thing standing between you and the wealthy future waiting for you. Then the screen fades out, leaving viewers energized, hopeful, and determined to act. There's a quiet moment in every collector's life, that instant when an old drawer slides open, or a forgotten jar of coins is dusted off, and something catches the light just a little differently. But what if I told you that one of those ordinary-looking coins, one you may have handled without a second thought, could now be worth more than $983,000? Yes, almost $1 million for a single quarter. If that sentence just made your heart skip, good. Hold on to that feeling, because today, you're about to discover the unbelievable story behind the 2016 Cumberland Gap $2 error coin, the one that has sent shockwaves through the coin-collecting world and turned everyday people into near-millionaires overnight. Before we dive in, let me ask you something unexpected. Do you remember the last time a quarter actually changed your life? No? Well, by the end of this video, there's a very real chance it might. And trust me, once you understand what makes this coin so rare, so sought after, and so unbelievably valuable, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. The Cumberland Gap quarter was part of the America the Beautiful series, released in 2016. Millions were minted. They were meant to be everyday currency, passed along in grocery stores, parking meters, laundromats. But among these millions, a tiny handful came out with something different. A minting anomaly. A rare error so dramatic and unmistakable that collectors today are fighting. Yes, fighting, to get their hands on one. Imagine this. A routine day at the mint. Machines striking coins with mechanical precision. But in the midst of all this perfection, a slip, a misalignment, a strike that didn't land where it should have. A creation not intended for circulation, but destined for legend. That accidental masterpiece is what we now know as the Cumberland Gap Major Die Error Quarter. A coin so rare that when it surfaced at auction, the bidding climbed and climbed until it nearly touched $1 million. That's right, $983,000 paid for a quarter that cost the mint just 25 cents to produce. Talk about a return on investment. And here's the part that sends chills down even seasoned collectors. Many of these error coins were never recorded, never tracked, never accounted for. Which means some are still out there, sitting quietly, hiding in private collections, in old jars, in forgotten pocket change, maybe in your home right now. And if your pulse just quickened a little, that's not an accident. It's your instinct telling you that opportunity is real and possibly close. But before we continue, let's reset your attention with one quick question. If I handed you a quarter right now and said, "This is worth almost $1 million," would you run to a jeweler, a coin expert, or straight to Google? Don't worry, you won't have to run anywhere, because I'm about to show you exactly what gives this coin its unbelievable value. The error is unmistakable once you know what to look for. A dramatic die clash, misstruck details, an off-center alignment that should never have passed inspection. It's the kind of flaw that turns an ordinary coin into a treasure. The kind that transforms collectors' excitement into bidding wars. The kind that creates wealth not over years, but in an instant. Now here's where things get truly powerful. The current market demand for this coin isn't slowing down. In fact, experts predict that as collectors compete harder and harder, the value will continue rising. The Cumberland Gap Error Quarter isn't just rare. It's becoming a status symbol, a trophy, a pinnacle piece for elite coin investors. Every year, fewer of these coins remain in circulation. Every year, the price climbs. And every year that passes without checking your own coins, the risk grows that you might be sitting on life-changing money without even knowing it. And let me be blunt, fear is a powerful motivator, but in the world of rare coins, regret is even stronger. Because nothing stings quite like discovering you once held a near $1 million coin and spent it on a coffee. So here's the moment of truth. This is where you take control. You deserve wealth. You deserve opportunity. And if you're watching this, it's because some part of you knows there's more waiting for you. More comfort, more success, more security. Maybe even the beginning of a lifestyle you've only allowed yourself to imagine. Before you go rushing to dig through jars or bankrolls, let me leave you with one final cliffhanger. The Cumberland Gap Quarter is not the only coin from this era with a massive, unexpected market value. In fact, there's another 2016 series quarter with a hidden error worth even more, and almost no one knows about it yet. In the next video, I'll reveal exactly what that coin is, what error gives it its enormous value, and how you can identify it instantly. But for now, the hunt begins. Your future wealth might be sitting in the palm of your hand. And there's only one way to find out. Have you ever walked past an old coin in a drawer without realizing it could rewrite your entire financial future? What if I told you that right now, a 2016 Theodore Roosevelt quarter, yes, the same coin most people casually spend on a parking meter, has been confirmed to reach a jaw-dropping market value of over $789,000. Today, you and I are diving into the story behind this extraordinary error coin, why collectors are aggressively hunting for it, and how this single quarter could turn into the biggest payday of your life. And before you think, a quarter worth nearly $1 million? That's impossible. Stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll never look at spare change the same way again. This is not just a video. It's an opportunity, a wake-up call, and maybe, just maybe, the turning point you've been waiting for. Welcome to a world where coins don't just hold value, they change lives. Our story begins not in a private vault or at a high-profile auction, but in a U.S. Mint facility in 2016, during the striking of the America the Beautiful quarter series. The Theodore Roosevelt design, honoring his legacy and his passion for America's natural landscapes, was meant to be flawless. A clean strike, perfect tribute. But what emerged was far from perfect, at least according to the Mint. Ironically, collectors consider this so-called mistake a masterpiece. A rare Mint error slipped into circulation. A defect so unique and visually striking that collectors worldwide now consider it one of the most desirable modern errors ever recorded. And this is where your heart may skip a beat. Some of these error coins are still unaccounted for. Yes, still out there. Still circulating. Still potentially sitting in jars, drawers, purses, pockets, and forgotten coffee cans. Maybe even in your home. Before you go sprinting to your kitchen drawer, don't worry, you will. But stay with me, because to truly understand what makes this coin worth $789,000 today, you need to know what happened inside the Mint. The error itself originated from a severe die malfunction. A misaligned strike so dramatic that the Roosevelt design appears distorted, shifted, and layered, giving the coin a powerful visual shock. Collectors call these major strike errors. But this particular one? It's on another level. It's a piece of minting history. A coin that should have been destroyed, but wasn't. Let's pause for a second. Imagine holding something in your hand worth more than a brand new Rolls-Royce, more than a beach house, more than most Americans earn in an entire decade. All from a 25-cent piece. And if that doesn't get your pulse up, here's the kicker. Today's market isn't just active, it's booming. High-net-worth collectors are aggressively buying rare modern mint errors, paying record-breaking numbers for coins they once ignored. In the last few months alone, demand for verified Roosevelt quarter errors has surged, and serious buyers are paying premium prices, all because only a tiny handful of these known error coins exist. The last documented sale? An astonishing $789,000. And experts say the next one could go even higher. When collectors smell scarcity and historical significance at the same time, the value doesn't just rise. It explodes. And here comes a little pattern interrupt. Humor me. Isn't it a bit ironic that we spend quarters on laundry, but a single misprinted one could buy the entire laundromat? Let's keep going, because the deeper we go, the more shocking this gets. Now we arrive at the moment you've been waiting for. How do you know if you have this near-million-dollar Roosevelt quarter? This is where excitement meets urgency, because these coins are being found in everyday circulation. People who thought they were holding pocket change realized they were actually holding wealth. Real, life-changing wealth. The 2016 Theodore Roosevelt quarter error is most recognizable by its extreme misalignment and dramatic off-center strike. It almost looks like the design is sliding off the coin, as if Roosevelt himself is caught mid-stride, stepping out of the metal. Some versions show doubling effects, others appear stretched or warped, as though the machinery hiccuped during the strike. Collectors crave this. Dealers chase it. Auction houses fight over it. And you, yes, you might already have one and not know it. Before we go on, let me drop a cliffhanger to keep your heartbeat elevated. There is a second, even rarer version of this error that hasn't surfaced publicly yet. And experts believe when it does, it could surpass the $1 million mark. If that doesn't make you reconsider checking your coin jar tonight, I don't know what will. But let's return to the main error coin, because knowing how to evaluate its worth is what turns curiosity into cash. Collectors want sharp visibility of the error, minimal wear, and strong strike features. But even coins with moderate wear have been known to sell for six figures. The market is so hot, so competitive, that sellers are receiving offers within minutes of listing them online. The coin is in high demand and low supply. A perfect recipe for soaring prices. Imagine someone else discovering a coin that could have been yours. Imagine missing out on a life-changing opportunity because you never bothered to look. That fear? Use it. Let it push you to take action today. Now picture the opposite. Imagine opening your old drawer, finding a strange-looking quarter from 2016, comparing it to this video, and realizing you're holding your ticket to a wealthier life. That excitement, that rush, that's what makes coin hunting addictive. That's why people are paying fortunes. So here's your moment. You now know the story. You understand the rarity. You've felt the urgency. And more importantly, you've learned that one simple coin, one overlooked, ordinary, everyday quarter, can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Wealth doesn't always arrive as a paycheck. Sometimes it shows up disguised as pocket change. If you're ready to learn about more high-value coins hiding in plain sight, subscribe and stay with this channel, because your journey to turning old coins into new wealth is just beginning. And trust me, the next coin we reveal might be worth even more. Have you ever walked past an old jar of coins and wondered if it might be hiding a life-changing secret? Today, you're about to discover how a simple US quarter, yes, a regular-looking 25-cent coin you may have spent without a second thought, has exploded in value and stunned collectors across the nation. And if you think this doesn't involve you, think again. Because the coin we're talking about is from 2019. Recent enough that it could still be in your pocket, your car, your kitchen drawer, anywhere. And its current market value? A jaw-dropping $896,000. So before you do anything else, stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear could rewrite your financial future. This story begins with the 2019 American Memorial Park Quarter, a coin meant to honor the bravery and sacrifice woven into America's history. But something extraordinary happened during its minting, something the US Mint didn't intend. A rare error. A tiny imperfection that turned an everyday quarter into one of the most sought-after treasures in modern American numismatics. It's a mistake worth almost $1 million. Think about that for a second. The kind of money that can erase debt, build generational wealth, or even rewrite the rest of your life. And before you wonder whether you're lucky enough to have one, remember, luck favors the prepared. And today, you're becoming one of the prepared. In Act 1, we set the stage. But now, in Act 2, the real transformation begins. Because what makes this quarter worth $896,000 is not a simple defect. It's a combination of rarity, historical meaning, and intense market demand. Collectors are desperately hunting for this coin. Dealers are offering of a lifetime. And auctions? Let's just say the bidding wars get more dramatic than your favorite courtroom TV show. One collector described seeing the coin in person like holding electricity in the palm of your hand. Another said it felt like finding a treasure chest without ever stepping foot on a beach. And here's where things get even more exciting. Error coins from 2019 are still entering the market. That means the window to profit is still open, but shrinking fast. Now stay with me here, because the next part could genuinely be the most important 30 seconds of your financial life. The American Memorial Park Quarter with this ultra-rare error typically shows misstrikes, double die designs, or even die chips that change its appearance just enough to set it apart. And collectors? They pay big for anything that breaks the normal pattern. Speaking of patterns, let me interrupt your attention with a quick question. If a 25-cent coin can be worth nearly $1 million, does that make your piggy bank a potential savings account or a hidden investment portfolio? Just something to think about before you shake it too hard. As we transition into Act 3, this is where your story begins. Because you are not watching this video by accident. People who discover valuable coins aren't lucky. They are curious, educated, and willing to take action. And that's exactly who you are by staying here. The reality is that rare coins like the 2019 quarter error are skyrocketing in value. And the market shows zero signs of slowing down. The demand is massive. The buyers are ready. And the success stories? They're real people. People who started with nothing more than a handful of spare change. But here comes the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. Somewhere out there, right now, another person is holding this same quarter without knowing its worth. Maybe they'll stumble onto its value, or maybe it could be you who makes the discovery first. That's the urgency. That's the moment that separates those who watch opportunities happen from those who take them. And if you want to live that wealthy lifestyle, if you want to turn your old coins into serious money, this is the moment to step forward. Because every major breakthrough begins with the same small decision. To look, to learn, and to assist. So tonight, when you walk past your nightstand, your coin jar, your kitchen drawer, stop. Pick up those coins. Examine them. Because hidden in the everyday world is a quarter worth $896,000, and someone will find it. The only question is whether the person who finds it will be you.